Hello there, people of the internet. My name is Odue Jagero, and this is Dialogue with Robertta. Dialogues is Jagero.
Fit Vaseline.
Yeah, Vaseline. This one doesn't have any
additive. I know it's a bit too extra.
Mm.
That's what you keep in your pockets or in your purse for lips.
It's so good. But it's not red though. Which one are you wearing?
I'm wearing. Hey, everyone asks me about this. But sasa wanilipi nifanye free advert.
Just sometimes we just do it. If you love something, you love something. You don't need to like.
It's true. Actually, I would promote them because I get a lot of attention.
Like I like iPhone. I would talk about it for free.
Yeah.
Do you have the latest? Let's talk about your lipstick.
Do I have the latest?
The latest iOS 18.
No, I have an old phone. I
need to organize how you should get a phone.
Yes,
I am
please.
Praying for you to get a good phone. This shit. What
I
is
love
this?
That.
This is a.
Utanichongoa hiyo ndo ubaya yako.
It looks like a 7. I'm telling you, is there a difference between a 7? Ali has a 7 that doesn't ring anymore. Like he has to use a headgear, headphone.
Right now, a 7 would bring you a lot of.
But you've not told me about this thing. By the way, people of the internet, today we are going to be talking about anticipatory grief. We are going to be talking about two things: anticipatory grief with Robertta, and we're also going to be talking about our lives as Kenyans and the politics, as Luos, as Nilots, living among
Actually, I'm a
Bantus. You are, but your mom is Nilot.
My mom is Luya.
But your father is Nilot.
My dad is Suba.
That's Nilot. Suba is Bantu. You're Luo, right?
Okay, I'm Luo because I can't call him adoptive father because that's the man who raised me. But he's not my biological father. So
you're truly, but by you identify as a Luo.
Yeah, and my name is Achieng Omondi.
Yeah, so that you were telling me about the lipstick. What happened?
Oh, the lips. We've already started, Kumbe. I didn't know
we started. We started already. It's just rolling.
This lipstick has gotten my rent paid.
Why?
Because my boyfriend told me he likes when I wear it. So he sent me rent money because I looked sexy. So this lipstick is called Milani Amor Mate. It's 20 sugar.
It's 20 sugar meaning what?
That's just what it's called. I really like it because it gets me a lot of attention. Definitely turns heads when I pass. Makes people cheat.
Make people do what? How does it look?
Yeah.
Makes people turn?
Oh, you look so pretty.
Yeah. I think they would really love me in the drag community.
Oh my God. Rix should be here for this conversation where you're wearing lipstick and he can pull up.
Is it red?
Very.
So
Can I give you a mirror?
Mm-hmm.
Let me give you a mirror.
That's a mirror Chanel. Oh shit.
Do you want to take it off?
Yeah, how do you take it off?
With like tissue. Make sure you don't touch your white.
Can I just wipe it off? Yeah. Oh, there we go.
You should wipe again.
Again?
Yeah.
I took very little.
Yeah. It's very bold. It's a bold color.
So now it's okay?
Yeah. Okay, your lips are still pinkish, but they look cute.
In
a nice way. So I think every woman should find their signature lipstick. A lipstick that makes their features pop, their skin look.
Push this microphone towards
their
you.
Their skin look beautiful, and just a lipstick that says, I'm here. Yeah, that's what I found this to be for me.
I want to make this your podcast into a mini podcast within my. You see, I was watching soccer the other day, and he started saying that we are going to come back to the lipstick, by the way.
Okay.
He was saying that welcome to the Gary Navel podcast. And I'm like, this is not Gary Navel podcast. This is the Sky Sports podcast. And I clicked on it and I realized that he's got a whole 128 videos that I put on a playlist. So if you just want to listen to his reactions after a soccer game, then you go there and listen to everything. So if people are interested in your stuff, they should just go there and see your playlist.
I like that. A lot of your people message me on the DMs telling me, I watch you on Jagero. So it makes sense. I think that would be nice.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And somebody sent a boyfriend.
A boyfriend?
A boyfriend your video about matatus and they got a car.
We need to talk about that. Alinunuliwa gari gani?
Gari tu hizi wananunuliwa sijui ni gani. I'm not sure which car. I'm not privy to the details.
Yeah.
But somebody messaged me and told me that her friend sent the boyfriend your video about matatus and they got a car.
I like that. It means what I say makes sense. The things I'm talking about make sense. So hata wase wakikuwa angry in the comments. You see, I told you when men like you, they go above and beyond. And it's so easy to see. It's so easy to win out the lover boys from the boys who don't care. Because a man who loves you will do everything he can to make sure you're comfortable. Hata mi ningekuwa na boyfriend, angekuwa shanunua hiyo gari. Kama angewatch your video. Ni venye sai niko single.
There's a way they say poor you in Sheng.
There's a way what?
They say poor you, poor me in Sheng.
Aje.
I've forgotten. It is this guy called Simple Boy.
Sheng wewe.
Yeah.
Mbwa mimi. Kumbavu zangu.
Yeah. Anyway, so I was in the village.
Yeah. How was that, by the way?
There is a lot of anger. Like, you go to the marketplace and everybody sees you in nice shorts and Crocs and white Crocs shoes. And they want you to buy them. In my village market is called Harambe. A very fucked up name.
Why fucked up?
Because I don't know I think Harambe, like a fundraiser, like nisaidie, like it just got a very
omba.
Yeah, omba has got a very bad vibe. So this happens a lot in Luoland. When people go home, the village like wana kusumbua sana. So you find people that go home, they do not go to the marketplace. They do not go out and mingle with people in the town halls.
Ukienda huko unakuwa celeb.
And in a very
everyone wants to. Lakini you have to acknowledge honestly that the way you dress and the way you look, if you go like that to the village, of course everyone is going to notice you.
Noticing somebody is not the idea, is not the problem. So you go to the village and kila mtu anakuomba sukari. And sometimes you are not showing up in the village because you have money, but just because you want to see your people.
Yes.
And there are people who are very close to you that need that sugar.
Yeah.
Like my brother died 2 years ago. I am helping take care of the wife and the kids. I have people that sort of depend on me to help them. So sometimes you don't have extra for the rest of the villagers.
That's true.
That
happens.
But you really get harassed. You wake up at 6 a.m. and people are already knocking at your gate as if you're the MC. Because
they know Odwar is around.
Yeah.
Ametoka Nairobi.
And they sort of think that here is the water should be small one, brother. Okay. Yeah, but you will just... this is your boyfriend, Abedi.
Yeah. Actually, I was like introducing to my boyfriend. The boyfriend, right?
Yeah. So where's the bread? The bread is coming.
Yeah.
Okay.
The lady's coming.
Yeah.
So, small water, right?
Small water, but we can use this one, Abedi.
Okay.
Yeah. These days we don't even put it on the table, so there is no need of even removing that thing.
Okay.
We don't put it on the table. We like the table to just have.
Just water.
How did you know I like this glass? These glasses?
You would be.
Karibu niseme kitu.
Yeah.
Lakini nitakwambia baadaye.
Very, very good.
Off camera.
Off camera. So.
That's sparkling water. Unataka ininyonge?
No, there is tea. You can take tea.
Okay.
So, I was telling you that you can bring it closer to you. The cameraman wants it to be somewhere there. I was telling you that. Yes. You can give it to her. Yeah. There is nothing wrong with people asking you for money, but you don't have it. So I was telling you the story of a lot of people who come from Nairobi to our village, people that are working, do not go out. Once they come home, they just stay in their compounds and be with their family.
Yeah.
And then just sneak back to Nairobi without really taking a lap in the village and talking to people and enjoying. But for me, I was born there. I grew there until 2002.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult for me to just go there and barricade myself inside my compound.
Yeah, because
you
uko ndo home.
Yeah, I want to go to the marketplace and watch soccer with my friends.
Yeah.
With the people around.
Yeah.
But then there is a lot of hunger there, and the last time I was there, I was not very happy because I was harassed. There is an English word called haranguing. Do you know that English word?
Yes, I do.
To harang.
Yeah.
To harang is not to give anybody peace, just like, So I felt bad about it.
So how did it make you feel? Did it make you feel like unasumbuliwa, or did it make you feel like you would love to be in a position where you're able to do more to help more people?
No, I don't want to do more to help.
Why?
Because I think humans are not set up that way to help other. You can help other humans when once in a while, you can, but you cannot set up yourself to be a human being and also be a non-profit. Like a human being, you can't be non-profit
on your own.
On your own. I think the way we live as a community is that we do things for ourselves to give us money. Your friends, your family members can plug a few holes here and there, but basically you should be standing on your 2 feet. You get? But when a lot of people are not standing on their 2 feet, it becomes a very big problem for the people around you. You've heard of black tax. You see? But so the black tax is like taking care of your immediate family when they cannot take care of themselves, which is fine. And for me, when kids lack, I have no problem with that because they did not make the decision of coming into this world. They're born into poor families. They want food. They want opportunities. And as Odur Jagero, I sympathize with that.
Yeah.
And I go ahead and empathize by giving them something if I want, if I can. You see, but I don't want to be like in a position where I want to be helping people around because it's not even easy to do it. Even if you had money, the infrastructure of helping people, anybody you meet on the road, is very difficult.
Yeah.
A billionaire told me on my podcast that I don't work with cash. So how do you help people if you can't even work with cash?
Yeah.
You really can't. You have to set up a shop where people go and find money.
It's true.
Which is very difficult.
Yeah. And
that is. And then we have our politics.
And that's I guess where the conversation was headed. There's hunger because of the state of the politics in the country. So maybe you're saying now you can see like a bigger difference in njaa ya watu wa nyumbani than maybe before. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, things have become very bad.
Yeah.
Like, for example, in my village, because that's what I can speak
Yeah.
about. My mother was basically harvesting papyrus reeds, or papyrus, which is basically called Togo in my language.
Togo.
Togo is papyrus reeds. So you get it, you chop it, bring it home, you dry it, and then make a mat out of it. And then you sell it in the market on market days, which is basically Tuesday, Sunday, and Friday. That is not happening today because we are basically close to River Nyando. And River Nyando has burst the banks. Okay? So now we are...
I love you too.
We are having a problem. People have no way of eating. But then...
Because now there's no way they can get like the papyrus.
They can't get it. And the economic situation is just very dire. The weather is very, you can't predict it. You plant, it dries up. You don't plant, it pours. So people are just living in a very bad state. Then we have the national government, and then we have the county government. So basically the county government has pocketed the money. They are not doing anything with it. We have the national government, we have Ruto and his shenanigans going on. But what I wanted to tell you is about our politics. When I went there, people were so happy with the way politics is going.
Really?
Yes, and that really, really shocked me.
How are they happy? Everything is messed up. How are they happy?
They are happy that Ruto is probably not going to go with Kikuyus at the end of in 2027. He's gonna take somebody from Luo Nyanza to become his deputy, and it is gonna be the time for Luos to eat.
I thought the whole movement, everything we've been doing leading up to now, from June 25th when we first had the Mandamano, I thought us guys were saying we're tribeless and we're leaderless and we believe in the cause, like we believe in whatever is happening. Saizi si mambo za mtu wetu, mambo ya sijui usiguze murima, sijui nini. I really thought the trajectory was that guys are starting to wake up and now we know better. So now we're not making dumber decisions. So unasema kwa ground, that's all a lie.
That's not a lie. It's very interesting because people can't afford tokens. People can't afford, like I told you, that people are basically taking strong tea and donuts. And it's not that like the moist, beautiful donut that we see at Java. It's just something that has been there for the last 21 days. It is hard. It is tasteless. It is not good. So, and something that I've really realized with what is happening in the village right now is that people, have you seen somebody that is hungry and has been hungry for a long time and is actually starving?
Sijawahi ona.
If you go to my village, you see that. That people are really, they look unhealthy.
Yeah.
Because of, I think this is really, there is something that happened, and I'm not saying this to look down upon these folks.
Disclaimer.
Yeah, but there is something that I saw that was really interesting. So in the evening, we had tea and bread. And one of the guests, some guests that they really enjoyed it. Like really loved it. And I was actually envious of how much they liked the food. And you could see somebody satisfactorily taking in food and enjoying it and really, really
And
getting
they have gratitude.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's not my kind of food. It's not my kind of food. And like I was telling you, that people really look hungry and starved. And then you find people that are saying that Raila has been invited by Ruto into his government And now in 2027, the Luos and the Kalenjins are going, this is their word, the Luos and the Kalenjins are going to come together, and then they're gonna nick something from Luya land, you know, and then because Joe is in the mix, and Joe is the leader of coastal region, he's gonna bring about 30%, 40%, you know, and then Watermelon doesn't know what he wants. He'll be given something shitty and we'll take it. And then we will suddenly be having this Kikuyu, this Luo Kalenjin Pact, the Nilotic Pact, and we are going to be having the government, and it's going to be our time to eat.
Guys,
and I was do you know the word flummoxed?
To be honest, I really have faith in us. I really have faith in us. I know all these things. I was not aware that. I mean, of course, I know kuna wale watu wenye ni diehard Raila, diehard Ruto, diehard vitu kama hizo. But I was really starting to feel like we're moving towards positive change, like we're trying to improve ourselves. So what I think we need to do is, in our little circles, in the little ways that we can, let's just keep preaching freedom. Let's just keep talking to the people who listen. Wale wenye wako stuck in those ways, it's really sad, because how can you still be talking about such things that isijui Ruto, Raila, watakuja? We're trying to remove all these people. Wote waende home. We start on a clean slate. People who care about us, people who care about our livelihoods. Na stuff ya njaa, najua umeenda ushago ukashtuka, but hii stuff ina affect kila mtu. Hata sisi hapa tao, unaona msee anakaa poa, anadress poa, anaishi poa, but it's an actual issue. The fear is there. The fear of not knowing how tomorrow is going to be, if you're going to eat, if you're going to... Like I was telling you, Leo, nimebuy tokens. Jana. Do you know, I almost cried. Nimebuy tokens, mi ubuy monthly. Nimebuy jana nikashangaa tu. Sasa hiyo inafainila. As in the same amount, they've come less by so much that I'm wondering, how can the difference be so big? And this is something I buy every month. I buy steamer around this time, first of the month, all the time consistently. What's different about this month? And that's a huge reflection of where we are at. Ukiona adi nateta juu ya steamer, yani kitu necessary yenye lazima ni buy, whether I want to or not. I need lights in the house. So it's an actual big problem. Guys have cut down on their meals. Wachata watoshago. Wasewa Nairobi. Guys are not eating 3 meals, 2 meals. Iyo strungi na ngumu umesema. Sa ingine hiyo ndo tunadishi hapa tulale. Unaitisha mandazi zile za 5 kama 10. Za 50 bob. Unatengeneza na strungi. Ukieka skari vizuri ni tamu. Si mingi sana, ile tu enough. Unakunywa na mandazi. And that's become the normal. Not many people are able to afford even the basic unga ya ugali. Unaweza buy skuma na ushindwe kufika bei ya unga ya ugali. Na si ati ina affect wase wako below poverty. Like hata hawana kabisa. The middle class, they're starting to feel the pinch because now it's affecting everyone. And I don't know why not everyone is waking up to speak. It's like kuna wale watu wanaona hawataguzwa ama hawatafikiwa. Even with this, I can't... Yani government inafanya nikuwe activist. Ni mimi hapa naongea juu ya... Kama hii kitu ya shift na SHA. They're giving a statement ati, oh, no one is being turned down, blah, blah, blah. But wase... Patients wako kwa hospitali, wako kwa ground, wanaenda wanakuwa turned down. Wase wa cancer, wase wa dialysis. Wanaambiwa kama hauna ganji hawezi. Okay, so utatoa wapi 100k saizi? Some people were paying with their own cards, and then when it maxes out, using the spouse's cards because you can be a dependent. Stuff ya SHA na SHIF, hadi hao CS, sijui nini, wanaitwa wanaulizwa maswali, hawezi jibu. Hawezi to explainia sisi. So how are we supposed to buy into it? Nobody understands what's happening. The pay slips are looking crazy. I don't even know what I would have done if I was still in employment, working the job I was working last year at a time like this. Do yangu ingekuwa zero. After all this, I'd have literally been working for free. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Hawa watu wanatufanya tukue activists. We are here to have a soft life, to enjoy, to drink sparkling
to talk
water
about
on
sex.
in He, kwanza leo ni national.
Hiyo nguo una nini ya beach ama ni ya nini?
Kwa nini?
That's a bra.
It's a bralette.
You know, I was brought up in the village, so you should explain
It's called
to
a
me.
bralette.
It's a bralette.
Yeah, you can just wear on a nice sunny day.
And the tattoos that you are having under your, people will say that one has changed so fast. We have gone from politics to
Last time I talked about my tattoos, do you remember? Guys got really, really mad at me.
Why?
Ati wasichana wa tattoos wako na trauma. Wako na nini? You don't remember the comments? That actually, the first time we met, do you know it's been a year?
Really?
Yeah. I was seeing on my Snapchat memories, 1 year ago today, yesterday, was the first time I came on your show.
Yeah, and have you not been a blessing to my show?
Thank you.
I think you've brightened it.
Thank you so much.
Women are good. Women have been very good to this podcast. Women have spoken in this podcast, and it has changed my perception of women.
What kind of perception did you have before? Before?
That they are wanaongea sana. Yeah, hizo vitu mnaongea ni kweli, mnakuanga tu mnaongea. Ati tunafinywa, tunafanyiwa nini, we are being harassed, we are being what? But when you sit down with women and listen keenly to those stories, and you realize that the man is completely withdrawn from those stories, it's not their life.
So they can't even imagine it's a reality or a possibility.
It's very scary when you realize how a man looks at the world. It's shockingly different.
And those are the things we want to hear.
And my biggest problem, people of the internet, we are going to be talking about anticipatory grief.
Yeah.
And so now we are having bridges. Like you do have
we are warming up into it.
And do you know what I really, really think? That women should have a lot of tolerance for men to speak. Because men speak a lot of things that disgust women. But if you go to that side of men, actually what they are talking about means a lot to them. My thinking is the way we are going to talk about these issues is let the bad come out.
Yeah. So that we can see it for what it really is.
Yes, because there is a lot of bad that is not coming out.
Yeah.
And women are shutting down that conversation.
Women?
Yes.
How?
If you go online and a woman posts and you see loads of men coming up and saying things, quote unquote, very, very, very
disrespectful.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know? And not, I think a lot of us men do not really understand women.
I was actually going to ask you, so do you think men need to listen more? Would you say that?
Women need to listen to men more. Men need to listen to women more.
All of us need to do a better job at listening.
The thing is, men are saying things that are hurting women more. Like downplaying the things that is happening with them.
Yeah.
You know, the fear they have in our community.
Yes.
The very real fear of sexual harassment, of looking down upon them, looking at them as lesser beings.
Yes.
Thinking that they don't
as
have
objects.
And as objects. But then you see now the problem that is there is that if you don't allow the men to come, there is something I will never forget that happened in Uganda, Kampala, in a festival.
What happened?
There was a discussion on why men are disrespecting women in festivals, in art festivals. And there was a round table. And this man stood up to speak. And funnily enough, the panel was made of entirely women, which was very problematic for me.
Okay.
You see, there should have been a few men on the panel. So this gentleman, stood up to speak as a man often speaks, without knowledge, without, and
Just yapping.
he wasn't yapping. He was talking about what I'm telling you, that men come to have conversations
Yes.
and bring in the things they feel.
Yes.
You see? And it was very anti the conversation.
But he was speaking, he alikuwa anajibonga.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And he was shut down so harshly. Like he stood up and sat down trembling. And I felt, oh shit, why are we having a round table? If the stupid thing he's talking about
Cannot have space.
Yes.
This is very interesting because there's a group of young people. We have a group, Love and Orgasms. We have conversations about intimacy and relationships, and such topics come up. Especially this week, we've been focusing a lot on pedophilia, the age of consent, statutory rape, and just discussions around rape, basically, and domestic violence. And the group was started about a couple of weeks ago, so we are still getting acclimatized to each other. But sazile vitu zilikuwa fresh bado. Some of the boys were making jokes in the group, jokes that are not funny to us. In the setting of men, those jokes can fly because they're not affecting anyone. They seem funny. They are, jokes that liken women to objects, or jokes that do not... they make women seem as inanimate objects. So the women in the group were trying to... At first, it started as education. Like, hey, these jokes are not funny. When you make such jokes, they mean this. It can show this. It can show this. Some of the guys were defensive. Like, it's just a joke. It's just a joke. It's funny. It's funny. It's not harming anyone. It's funny. Then it went on as education, trying to explain to men that to you, it's just a joke. But to us women, it actually ends up in women dying. Because there's a man who'll take that joke, and to him it's not a joke. It's not funny. Vitu kama mpatie mimba atulie. It seems funny, but there's men who sit down and that's what they believe. They believe if you want to control that woman, if you want to tame her, they know how pregnancy is such. It requires all of you. It tears apart your body. It can throw you in depression. It can cause you to die. It literally takes everything from you. But to them, it's a joke.
Do you know something very interesting about what you're talking about? It's very ingrained in our culture. In our culture, it's actually, it's called breaking a leg.
That same example, it happened in the group as well. Some guy was trying to explain, the culture and sijui kuvunja mguu ya mbuzi or sijui what, such things and all that. And the ladies were trying to explain, okay, yeah, vitu zingine ni culture, but even with culture, now that you know better, the group has scholars like advocates, medics, really, really smart people, but these are the conversations we are having, especially surrounding sex. And the women are trying to explain, I know it can be funny when you're talking to a certain audience, but here in a group, especially that was made by a woman for women, because primarily that was the idea. We just allowed some men to come in for, diversity of opinions. It's nice to hear what other people are talking about, to learn from them. Like you said, the way that guy came and said things from the festival, from the round table. But I think it's necessary to have that, because it's a real-time example of what some people think. It's a real-time example of how some people process information. So you can't remain ignorant saying sisi kwa lugha yetu tunafanyanga hivyo. No. Sisi kwa Wakikuyu tunafanyanga hivyo. Sisi kwa sijui tunafanyanga FGM. You can't say that. It requires for you to reach a point where you're able to say, yes, I can be a traditional person. It's okay to be cultural. It's fine. But it's also okay to be able to have the wisdom to pick and choose what serves you, especially positively. You're not going to support FGM when there's all this information explaining to you why it is harmful to someone. You're not going to push for the sharing of wives when you know the brother has HIV/AIDS, then this one has died, now you inherit the wives.
Yeah.
You have to pick and choose what is not harmful. So I've realized, I'm talking about this because I've realized trying to explain to men especially that it's not just a joke. For you, it ends there. But for some other woman, a man is going to kill her because of that joke. It could literally end in death. Any moment we spend around men, it could be your husband, your father, your brother. That is our lived fear. It is a real fear we have. It's not a story that we're tunapiga ama story nilisikia ati kuna dema liuliwa zi. Ni kitu nimeona ikifanyika kwa familia yangu, imefanikia mabeshte zangu, ilifanyika kwa news juzi. Jana, the lady, did you see? She's called Kambua. I don't want to botch her name. The taxi driver lady who someone called her for a long distance drive. The lady has been missing for 5 days. Yesterday, she was found at the city mortuary, murdered. Her car was found abandoned, sijui where. She was found yesterday. So it's si story na kupigia, ni vitu zinafanyika. So I think the anger comes in now where they shut him down because of that. The anger comes in because, remember, I keep repeating, this is our lived experience. This is something we go through every day. Jagero, every day, at least twice, I have to explain to a man why I'm a human being. Every day. On the internet, to a comment even my mom might make. Because, you know, the older, especially the boomers, they have internalized misogyny. They'll make some comments. They're very tribal as well. Like, nobody calls them out for such things. But sisi, because we're wiser, we're able to see and we know more. So, kama si comment ya mamangu ama babangu, kuna mtu atanikanyaga kwa matatu, kuna mtu ataniongelesha vibaya kwa barabara, kuna comment ndaona about me on the internet, it's consistent. So I think it reaches a point you blow up because what the hell? This whole round table is about us trying to explain to you why you should respect women. How dare you pull up with counter opinions? So I think men now, the only way, you know, women are the only species, are the only animals that are expected to mate with their natural predators on earth. It is men who kill us, but we're still expected to have children with them. There's no other species that has to go through that. So the men shouldn't say, we talk too much, we're angry. How else do you want us to fight the patriarchy? You want us to be demure? You want us to sit and be mindful? Like, hi, Jagero. Please don't disrespect me. Please don't rape me. How else are we supposed to fight if not with anger? And it is anger-inducing. Imagine daily you have to... Daily, nikiingia Uber naogopa. Nikishuka mali nenda naogopa. Nikiingia kwa matatu sijui nani ataniongelesha, nani atajaribu kuniguza, nani atajaribu kuni disrespect. It's actually so... What you said, yes, it's true. Men can't comprehend because it's not their life. And I want to talk about the other side of the coin. The discussion for pedophilia has been trending because Bruce was raped. The guy, did you see the video circulating?
Of who?
The man who, he was talking ill about the governor of Mombasa. And then allegedly, let me say allegedly, staki kujiwa mini mtoto mamangu and I'm just a young girl. And then allegedly this governor sent goons to molest, to sodomize him. And they raped him on camera. Men pinned him down, like 8 men, almost 10 men. They pinned him on the floor. They took his pants off and they raped him on camera and everyone was recording. And the video has been circulating this week. It's very anger-inducing because, talking about rape is just something. So anyway, in this group, we were having a discussion about what happened. And the men were starting to open up. They're starting to tell us the same way you say we don't get your lived experiences. This is something that is actively happening to boys. Boys are being raped. boys are being molested. It's in the church, it's by their uncles, it's by their fathers, it's by their big brothers, it's by their cousins, it's in the home. When we're talking about rape, nobody ever thinks about the boys. We just focus on the women, on the young girls. Nobody amplifies. And when we start talking about the men, it's just the same men who start ridiculing the conversation. How many times has Rix brought about talks about sodomy and rape, and he gives his story, his life story all the time? What do people tell him? They laugh at him in the comments. They laugh at his lived experiences, and that's why men are not coming out to say. Men are so afraid and ashamed of talking about how they've been molested and raped and sodomized and sexually assaulted. And this broke my heart, because how could I never have thought about it? How could I never have thought about... I've been so busy, as I should have. There's nothing wrong with it. I've been so busy advocating for women that I forget to amplify the other side of the conversation. And then you start to realize men are showing up like this because of all this trauma that they're going through. They're being raped at home. They're not able to talk about it. They're hurt. They're traumatized. They're confused. It's heavy. And it's not just 3 men or 1 man. It's almost every other man. They just don't want to talk about it. Which man is going to stand up and say, I was raped? Kama hiyo story ya Bruce haingefanyika, it didn't have to happen, but kama haingefanyika, hatungefika point enye we're ready to have these conversations. Immediately after that incident, I had to call my brother. I had to call him and ask him, you have to tell me. Has anyone, he's a 24-year-old man, turning 25. But I had to now be concerned, because I can't imagine. Afadhali mimi niko na space. Mimi naweza kuja hapa niongee, naweza ongea na my girls, naweza enda therapy. Men are not socialized the same way. They're not going to sit around in a circle and talk about how another man raped him. It's not a conversation that will come easy. So now imagine, on top of the trauma, they have no outlet. They have no one to talk about. I told him, if anyone has ever touched you at any age, if anyone has ever tried to sexually assault you, touch you inappropriately, whether it's a woman or a man, you need to tell me. You need to know this is a safe space. You can come to me. Let's talk about it, because you need the help. You need to decompress. You need to talk about it and heal from it. Rape is not... It's not something it's horrible. It actually destroys you. And the reason they even recorded him on the floor when they had pinned him down, it's because it's a power thing. It doesn't just hurt your body. It destroys your soul. It takes away, it strips you of your self-esteem, your worth. You feel dirty, and it's just horrible. It's bad. It's bad.
I can only imagine. I hope that you're enjoying Dialogues with Jagero. Now, I have interrupted this program to tell you something amazing that I have been doing for the last 1 year. I've been writing another book. But before I tell you about this, I want to tell you something. 92% of podcasts that have been started die in their first 3 to 6 months. That is not a good thing. Just after writing 18 Hustles for Africans, which has sold thousands of copies, I have written another book called The Playbook. The Playbook is about YouTube and podcasting and how to go big the way I have done in the last 1 month. And in this book, I have done everything to make it easier for you, discovering the secrets of crafting captivating narratives that hook viewers and leave them wanting more. I have put that in the book. How about creating compelling videos? From scripting and storyboarding to shooting and editing, this book provides a comprehensive framework. But again, everybody wants to make money. That's why I've talked about monetizing your content or your channel. In this book, you'll explore multiple revenue streams, from ad revenue to brand partnership and selling your own products to turning your passion into a huge profit. Now, this book has got proven strategies, and I am the king of social media. I go viral. So how about leveraging social media? Learn how to effectively promote your YouTube channel or podcast across various platforms, reaching a wider audience and driving traffic to your videos. This book also has in-depth insights, and I cannot fail to talk to you about this. What people do not know is the algorithm that runs behind every podcast and YouTube. Now, this guide decodes the complexities of the YouTube algorithm, revealing how it influences video ranking, recommendation, and overall audience engagement. If you want to know how to get this book, or rather this ebook, I have left everything in the description below. So, how much is the book? The book is 1,500 only. And now, back to programming. We were supposed to talk about, what is the word?
Grief, anticipatory grief.
Anticipatory grief.
Yeah.
I told you that I've always had the fear that I'm going to have my legs cut off.
Where does this fear come from?
It comes from my long-standing pain with my heel.
Mm-hmm. Which started how or why?
I really do not know, but I trace this thing way back. When I was still going to school. You remember when we were in school, we were told that vavatu utazoea, the viatu, if they are too tight.
Yeah.
But I wasn't able to do it. It had to fit or I wouldn't be able to walk. I remember my sister, the best shoe that I ever got when I was in school was bought by my sister in Kisumu. They were rubber soles, and I loved them. I didn't want to take them out because they just fit perfectly, and it just added a spring to my stride. Yeah, it was really great.
Yeah.
There are others that I wore that were really hurting my heel and hurting my like for me, I don't have that white thing here because basically I couldn't wear shoes that didn't fit. They had to fit, or I would be in pain the whole time. So I think it started that long that I'm somebody who had weak heels, and then I played soccer. So I think 15 years.
You have flat feet?
That's what they probably say.
Because if you have a flat foot, it's normal. It's something that happens, but you have to get special shoes.
Yeah, so obviously getting special shoes for me would have been a very difficult thing. And when you are complaining about pain and you do not have a wound in a family like mine, nobody would really care. So 15 years ago, I started having serious problems with my heel. I wouldn't walk for long, and then I would start really having pins on my foot.
Pins and needles.
Yeah, pins and needles. And I would wake up and I wouldn't I step out of the bed and I would be in serious pain until around 10 when I've walked and it's warmer and then it will cool down. But then it became really bad at some point. So I think 4 years ago in 2019, I went for operation in Italy to have a look at what was really going on. So they told me that I have got plantar fasciitis.
What's that?
Plantar fasciitis is there is on your foot there is a cushion, a muscle that attaches itself to the heel and spreads to the fore.
Okay.
So it cushions you when you do a heel strike. It's not because there is a bone there, right there. So and then the muscle attach itself to the bone, so it cushions every step that you take. And then so I was having this pain, and you see now there is a lot of nerves also. There are nerves all over here. The peripheral nerve, the nerve endings are here. So when I wasn't able to do a heel strike, I started going that way. So instead of a serious heel strike, I started doing that. Tiptoeing.
Okay.
So and I interfered with the nerves here. I became so painful.
And now you can't take your heel down because ushajizoesha walking on your toes.
So it really became bad. In 2020, I did not drive the whole year. I parked my car in the office the whole time. And one of the things that was going through my head is that I am going to have my foot actually amputated because how else am I going to live with this pain? I dreamed and had nightmares of being in a wheelchair you know. And I was like, so in my family, a little bit of my family have a problem with bones. Our last one actually died of bone disorder. So, talking about anticipatory, grief, it was very clear to me that it has been always at the back of my mind that, are you going to reach 70? Are you going to reach 60? Are you going to have legs? You know, so that has been a sense of serious grief. And then I had this problem with sweaty hands. And
tell me about your sweaty hands.
The sweaty hands. It's, when I started reading about it, I realized that it's a huge problem, especially in the West.
Yeah.
Girls actually commit suicide because of it.
Tell me more.
It creates a very serious social disorder. Where so the way sweaty hands work is that we usually shake hands with friends, with anybody that you meet, especially before Corona. These days, I see even women got time.
Yeah, me, I don't shake hands.
You see,
yeah.
So if you have sweaty hands, there is something that is like. It starts from somewhere here. There's a nerve here that triggers the brain that you need to sweat. You can
feel it.
Yes. So it gets triggered. So mostly it is the feet and the hands and the armpits. You see, so you overly sweat. I don't have a lot of armpit sweating, but then I've got feet and like your me, I there is a time I used to wear socks. I used to carry an extra pair of socks in my hand, in my bag. To change.
For your feet?
Yes. And I cannot wear shoes without socks. You see the way people wear this Congolese looking...
Uta slide. Uta tembea.
Why leave alone sliding? It's going to be so bad. Yeah. There's going to be water in that shoe.
So what do you think triggers like the process? Is it anxiety or it's just something?
So you could have it. So you could have it. But it becomes extreme when you have anxiety. And the anxiety comes like you are in the house, you're preparing to go for a party or where people are going to be, and you're going to be shaking hands. It triggers it. That anxiety triggers it. So for people who are young, they decide not to go out.
Yeah.
So it even triggers when you hear somebody who is a member of you, not a member of your family, inside coming over, and your thinking is, gosh, they're gonna ask me to shake their hands, and it becomes so problematic. When I was doing my KCSE, they had to like give me 3 handkerchiefs to put my hand on, so that
you don't wet the papers.
If you wet the paper, that's it.
Yeah.
It was one paper, and you have to fill it.
Now, when you ukiguza biro for a minute, you can start sweating.
Yes. So it sweats. You see this one? This is where it sweats a lot. And sometimes it even drips. Like dripping. Like you feel like you put your hands in water and removed. So there is a lot of sweating. So young girls and young boys, teenagers, have a problem with it when they start dating. Because they are going to shake hands. They're going to be asked to...
Even leaving the house has to induce a lot of anxiety.
Yeah, they are going to be asked to hold hands with the guy, with the person that they love. And it becomes so hard. So girls started committing suicide. Boys started committing suicide. They don't go to school because children are like, what the fuck is in your hands? Did you go to the washrooms, an hour, then you are just coming out? So that became a very big problem with me. I went to church one day and I was like, there's a time it was so bad because I was trying to date in church. I was having this problem of sweaty hands. I was broke. And it went over the top. I thought I was nearly done into cheesy. It became so bad. I was affected so badly upstairs. So I went to, the person that helped me was my pastor. He called me, I went to him because I had no support at all. I was suffering alone. So I went to him and told him that I have a problem. And he was so shocked because I think it was the first time he was having a problem. hearing
He was
this.
hearing of this.
Yeah, that somebody has sweaty hands and
it's affecting them like this.
Yes, like socially, and they can't relate. So he's called Reverend Tom Otieno. So Reverend Tom Otieno was very sympathetic, and we talked about it for like an hour. And so he told me that you just have to take decisions, very, very strong decisions, that I am coming out of the house, I am not going to shake hands. Kikuja mintagota. Or shake hands and tell them that you've got sweaty hands before you shake their hands.
Yeah.
You know? And
I
also,
like it. I like the solutions he gave you.
yeah, and he told me that this thing is not going away. So if you put your head in, if you're always thinking about it's not gonna end well. So you have to just know that there are people who can't walk, there are people who can't see, there are people who can't hear. Everybody's born, and then along the way something happens.
Yes.
So you have to get used to this.
You learn how to live with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after that, I just started living with it. And I used to joke with people about it, you know. You know, when sometimes I would shake hands and somebody would just do this.
In front of you.
Like,
you start dying inside.
or just go. What the fuck?
I get it.
Yeah, what the fuck is in his hand? Because when you have a handshake with somebody and it's left a liquid, no, you don't know it's sweat. That's the thing.
Yeah.
The other person does not know what it is. Is it water? Is it sweat? What the fuck is it? So they are really they're really disgusted.
I get what you mean.
They are really disgusted.
Isn't the brain magnificent though? Like how it can trick you into, thinking some things. But it's also magnificent in that you can always reverse all that.
Yeah.
By just the way he talked to you. I like the way he was very empathetic despite not really understanding. But easy V2, right now that I have better understanding, of course when I see it from this other side, I can totally understand your anxiety.
Yeah.
But it's also, you always have to remember, like moving forward, we've talked about the spotlight effect. Right?
No.
It wasn't here.
I
think it was on TV.
What's the spotlight effect?
The spotlight effect is the thoughts where you think the spotlight is on you. You consistently think people are looking at you, talking about you, they're obsessing over you. It's just you they see. And so if you're very insecure about something, you're consistently thinking that that's all they see. But you have to realize everyone is always thinking about themselves. No one is thinking about you. I used to have insecurities about the way I looked. We talked about this on the other episode. And I used to feel like I was very ugly. I used to hate my facial features. I used to hate my body. And I used to obsess. Like I'd look at myself in the mirror and see, my eye is not right, my lips are not right, my skin color is not right, I hate my teeth, I hate my ni. And I was always trying to, it's just your brain. It's my brain telling me something's wrong with your eyes, something's wrong with your skin, something is wrong with your... So if you don't unlearn these things and you don't start to see that people are not thinking about me, when people look at me, they don't see at sijui my pimples, ama sijui blackheads, ama sijui nini, sijui lips. Nobody sees that. The only people who see your insecurities are people who are insecure. Someone who's looking at someone who's happy about your growth, they're happy about your confidence, they hardly think ati masikio huyu zinakaaje. You'll never find that. If someone is looking at you like that, it's because they're insecure about their ears. That's why they're noticing yours. So it really it's all in your head. You're thinking, they'll see the sweat, they'll think I'm disgusting. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Even the ones who are doing this, and so what? So what, literally? Like, it's
what is when we talk about the anticipatory grief?
Yes.
How has it been for you, though?
So, let me start by defining what it is.
Yeah.
So, anticipatory grief is grief that is, in simple terms, grief that you are anticipating. it is grief that comes before the loss. You know, grief comes after you suffer loss, but there's also sometimes where you'll go through a period where you have crippling anxiety and fear, and you're scared, and because you're expecting to experience loss in the near future. Sometimes the loss doesn't even happen, but an example I can give of a situation where I underwent anticipatory grief is, I talk about this a lot last year when my mom got cancer. And she was told it's stage 4. Yani, this is a woman who is strong. She's an iron lady. She's very, very strong. Yani, she's never been sick. I've never seen my mom sick. I've seen her cry once. She's always healthy, happy, looking good, just okay. And then one day we are told she has stage 4 cancer. That day my life shattered. Tulikuwa hapa junkie tukifanya shopping, and I kept feeling like I want to go and curl in a ball and just cry and die. But then that whole time leading up to her treatment, you know, now you start discussing treatment plans. Is she gonna go through chemo, radiation, blah, 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 surgery, blah, blah, blah. When you hear cancer, the first, especially stage 4, the first thing you think is death. Hata Google, they'll tell you this is the last cancer. This is the last stage of cancer, and it is, you know, so you start thinking, okay, she's, you know, this is it. This is, my worst fears are coming to life. Things I'm very scared, afraid of are starting to happen. So I went through, I didn't know what it was called at that time. I didn't know it was a sort of grief, because you go through all the 5 stages of grief, which is denial, anger, acceptance, nini. Izo zote, you go through them. At first, it was very, very scary. And then you start to go through the motions. You know, you start to consistently have thoughts of akikufa, what will happen, what if death is an actual possibility. And this doesn't happen just if you're going through a situation similar to mine. It happens in things like day-to-day life, like watching our parents getting older. At some point, you know, unfortunately, you might have to go through the loss of a parent. It's very scary. It's me, I feel like all children deserve to have their parents. And I know it's not something that always happens, but if you're privileged enough to have your parents longer, and you start to see, leo, this week utavisit kila kitu iko sawa. Kesho, mamako anakupigia sijui mgongo, sijui joints, sijui ameenda hospitali, macho hazioni, sijui nini. Then it starts dawning on you that they are actual human beings and their bodies are starting to age. And kesho ukienda ashaanza kuwa na nywele za white, kidogo tena haezi simama, sijui nini. Anaanza saa kushinda hosi often, like every other, at least per month or a few times in a month they have to. You start to think about, sometimes they're not even sickly, they're not dying, but the inevitable thought that death is something that's coming, it scares you and it paralyzes you. And this is a real fear.
There's something that I usually watch very keenly when I'm looking at older people. I am very obsessed with, when I see a very older person, I usually want to find their young pictures.
To see what they look like.
Yeah. So there is this guy called, what is his name? I've forgotten his name. He's the owner of WWE, the World whatever wrestling, whatever. You know, I don't know why it's called WWE, by the way.
I forget.
Yeah. There is a documentary on Netflix right now that is talking
about...
The
new one, Mr. McMahon. Is he McMahon or Mohan or something?
Yes, that one.
Yeah.
I've watched that documentary, not finished it though. And
is it any good?
I think it will be very interesting to a lot of people who are into wrestling and how wrestling, actually, the business of wrestling, how it works. I think it will be very interesting to people like that. For other people, it'll just be any other thing.
Yeah.
No, I don't think you like it. It's very far from you. But for me, I really love it because I've always been fascinated by wrestling and the business behind it. If you look at that guy, his voice is fucked up. I think they even did a surgery on his voice or something. It's really fucked up. He speaks very funny. Then you go down to when he was young. The documentary actually starts with you when he's young, very young. He meets his father, and the very first time that he goes on the sides of the ring and starts announcing those fights, he's really young. He's got a very nice pointed nose, you know. And then there is a photo that they bring you which is black and white. He's got this very beautiful hair. He's young. I think he's 26, 28.
He looks healthy and strong.
Yeah, and he's so handsome.
Yeah.
And then you look at him sitting right now. I think he's 80.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He's wrinkled. And the funny thing, when you look at the hands, when everything else is slipping through your fingers, when age really enters,
you see the wrinkles and the age.
And and the way the fingers just begin to get crooked. You know?
Even the face.
Yeah, and this finger like goes like this and stays like that, and this one stays like this.
Yeah. It'll be us one time. Hopefully. I don't know if I say hopefully or...
And there's some grace to it.
Yes. And a beauty.
And a beauty to it. But you are looking at a human being falling apart.
Disintegrating.
You know?
Yeah.
And there's nothing you can do about it.
You can't stop the process.
Yeah.
Actually, the aging is the privilege.
And the eyelids dropping.
Even the eyes, they look like they've seen a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, seen a lot of porn.
Well, maybe even
seen
acting.
a lot of pussies. Seen a lot of heads.
It's true.
You know?
It's true.
And, you know, the body, you stand up. The other day when I was in the village, and this guy stands up and just goes forward. Like his legs
The way he did. So making me laugh at old people.
It's fascinating to look at.
Yeah.
But it's also, like, really, it stops you on your tracks. To think about, what am I doing now?
Because it's about to be you. And time wisha tu hivi.
Yes.
It's not that you just wake up. If you're not intentional with your life, you wake up at 80.
You know, when sometimes they always tell me that, you know, Jagero, the reason I was home and they were hammering me about having only one child, and to make matters worse, it's an ogwang. Do you know what an ogwang is?
No.
They call a woman in our culture an ogwang.
What's that? Oh, that's what it means. Woman.
No. It means that this is a wild animal that will go, and you'll remain alone.
There it goes, comparing women to things and animals.
Yeah, like.
But I know what you mean.
Yeah, like you will go get married in
Cannot be tamed, cannot be kept.
Yeah, no, they will fly away like a bird from a nest. They will be married in Ugunja. They will be married in at the coast. They will get a man and fly to United States. You know.
It's a real cultural fear.
Yeah, so they're telling me that, you know, who is gonna take care of me when I'm soiling myself.
Kwani, you gave birth to people to service providers, to caregivers.
But isn't that what we are doing?
No.
A lot of people actually.
Okay, I mean, yes, people do that, but like that's not supposed to be the purpose of getting children.
Yeah, but a lot of people get children so that they can help you. And you know, I went to the village, and talking about that, I went to the village, and one of my uncles, quote unquote, I went to his place, and he's like 77. I think he's. I don't want to say his age because people will think they will know who I'm talking about. And the funny thing that I saw, I went into his compound, was bent, scrubbing a sufuria.
For himself at
Yes.
70 something.
77. He's closing in on 80. And I was like, oh, fuck.
I don't want to be him.
Because, you know something? He has children, lots of them. And they can be able to actually hire
Help.
a house help.
So why aren't they? He was a horrible father.
No.
What's the...
I don't
What's the
think
tea?
I don't think he was a horrible father. I don't think it is just the reality that everybody is having their own problems, and people do not naturally want to say this is the person that raised me, and we need to take care of them. Liwe liwalo. That's what I'm saying. Let me finish. That's what I'm saying. That if this guy had like a few rentals. If he had not a lot of children and put some money somewhere,
Amejipanga.
yes, aweke rentals, akuwe na fedha fulani yenye inakuja every month in your old age, then having a house help in the village is basically just about 4,000 in a month.
Yeah.
And he would not be scrubbing dishes. You know, there is scrubbing dishes, and then there is taking them out of the house into the sun
Yes.
and scrubbing.
Kwanza ni zile za ugali.
Yeah. Hizo za ugali.
Unajua ukiwa mzee uko na arthritis.
Yes.
It's difficult to
It's very
scrub.
difficult.
Yeah.
And it got me really thinking that, well, you could decide to put all your eggs in children.
Or
Or decide that, okay, I am going to just have a few and then figure out if I'm going to be having something that can give me money when I'm not able to, when my limbs can't support me anymore.
It's true.
You know?
It's true. And I like that you brought this conversation up because this is a discussion people have been having, especially about nursing homes. And the reason I asked you, was he a bad father, is because, si ati kumchomea or anything, but the nurses in the nursing homes have been talking about how the men who come to stay, they have no visitors, they have no family, they have no relatives, nothing. But the women, they have communities around them in their final stages. Women are visited even by their primary school teachers from 50 years ago, 60 years ago. They are visited by people who met them at the workplace. They are visited by, their children are consistently with them by the bedside. But the men are dying alone to the point that adi wakicall home, wakicall watoto wao, when the nursing home calls the kids, like, hey, your dad is at final stages, he's just about to pass on, will you guys come and visit before he's gone? They say, just call us when he's already died.
I think I have a lot to say about that.
Yeah. So let me finish.
Great.
So the kids say, just let him call us when it's time to sign things, and the thing that they're finding common in these situations. So they're saying that's how they're seeing the men end their finish their end of life, and the women are consistently surrounded by communities and friends, people who are not even related to them. And so basically the conversation was just about urging more men to think about investing in community, think about being a good friend to other people, think about being a good father, being a good boyfriend, being a good friend, basically just being a good person. Because the men are not really socialized to think about, community and love. They're just thinking money. I have to get money, take care of my family.
That is true, but I also think that being a man can be a very lonely thing.
Tell us about that.
And
how do you guys end up lonely? How does it get there?
You can think that men have got friends, but really, I really friendship amongst men is a very complicated thing. You get?
How? Why? Why is it a complicated thing? Because hizi statistics zinaonesha majamaa wanasugua sufuria za ugali peke yao at 76, it shows there's a gap between these examples are given all the time. Ati watoi wanaenda wanaomoka, wanaenda maju, wanakujia mama yao.
If you look at, for example, this guy, I don't think he's a horrible man. I don't think he's a horrible father. Everything he did it out of duty.
Yeah.
And sometimes as a man, you don't have the luxury of being emotional, of being friends, even with your sons, even with your daughters. You pay school fees because you need to pay for it. You buy for them uniforms, you buy for them shoes, but you don't nurture them.
Why though? And you said,
and I'm not saying that they should nurture.
Yeah.
That's just a full stop. They think, I think sometimes men think that providing the necessary is giving already a lot of love.
Yeah.
And the person who is receiving it is not looking at it like that. I don't want you to buy me that ball.
I need
want
a
you
hug.
to come with me to the training.
Yeah, I need you to call me and say, I love you, my daughter.
You know?
Yeah.
So there's a disconnect there. I have bought you the ball. Your mother has
paid the coach.
Your mother has taken you to this training and shouted from the stands. You get?
I've paid the trainer. I've bought the uniform.
Yes, but I've not showed up there. I have. So, and everybody becomes a victim. Everybody my father is not coming to my games. Why? He's stuck in the office making these stupid business calls.
Yeah.
You know?
Which are also important.
You know? But as a child, you don't see that.
Yeah.
You don't see a father.
I like that you said that. I like that you said as a child you don't see that, because when you said men don't, I also like that because I've told you my mom is a primary, breadwinner in our home. Do you know my mom has never given an excuse? My mom has been there for everything, every practice, every graduation, every event, no matter how small or boring or unnecessary it is. My mom went to work. There's times she used to work 3 jobs and she'd still pull up. She'd still show up. I've never had an excuse at it. There is a time my mom came straight from surgery. She had the fibroid surgery, kutoa uterus or something. Bro, she came 2 days later to my event. She didn't even tell me she was having surgery. So when I hear men say, you know, after we provide full stop, this is the direct outcome of this is the direct consequence of your actions. You can pay all you want. We keep telling you, paying is nice, money is nice, but we need you present.
You see, I totally agree with that. The other day, my wife was asking me, why is it that you never look at the homework of Maya?
Why is it?
Easy? And I was like, fuck, You
didn't even realize.
I really don't most of the time. 99% of the time. I don't do it. And I can have, and you know what I told my wife? That my mother nobody bothered to look at my homework, really. You see? And then, if you look at that situation, is that I have not taken the time
to even think about it as a thing.
To think about it as a thing. I'm deciding to get stuck with how mine was. You see? So I'll start doing it. But yeah, it's gonna be hard, but I'm gonna start doing it. But what I wanted to say actually is that when we grow up as children, then we must understand that this happened and this is the reason why it happened. I would have a very big problem with a grown-ass man saying that his father did not show up at his training. You know? You should have known by now that this is it. Like moving forward, what do I do as a man? And do I want to sympathize with this old man and get a helper for him, or allow him to scrub his own dishes? You see?
Yes.
You must be the wiser one now.
You do. When you know better, you do better.
Yes.
You don't say, me, I didn't know, or me, I...
Yes. So you say, okay, this is... My father did not raise me well. Like I know, my father did not raise me well. My father did his duties.
He did his best with what he could.
No. His duties very, very well. He paid for my school fees most of the time. He is the one who bought food in our house. He was completely emotionally withdrawn. Like no hug, no nothing, treated, beaten up because you're a kid and he has got power over you. My father told me to get under the table when visitors came. It felt good to him.
To hide.
I don't know.
Or what was it like?
Which is a crazy thing.
To ridicule you or something.
My father, I don't know. I can't interpret it really, but we were children and didn't know that children are human beings. You see? Yes, but, it was a joke then, but
it's not
looking
funny
back,
now.
it's really terrible. But am I going to tell my daughter to go under the table? No. I need to look at my daughter's assignments.
Yes.
And be the wiser man. And if my father was around today, I would not let him scrub the dishes by himself.
Yes.
However much he was emotionally withdrawn and unavailable for me, because my grandfather was not a good man.
And if your father was like that, imagine his father. Yes. How his father treated him.
I saw my father, my grandfather was extremely violent. Like really violent. And there is something that I saw that I would never... my grandfather almost killed me.
While beating you up?
He was really violent. There is a time that he took a rod. If you know a cowshed at home, the entrance of a cowshed, they do not have like a door. They have these things that look like this, and then they have rods across. Like this one, and then this, and then this, and then there's a rod, and then there's a rod. He removed one of the rods, strike a cow, and both horns is a kangoka. And the cow bled for hours.
Whoa.
There is a time I did not go grazing the cows, and he wanted to come and smash my head with a club. I was at a homestead, and then this guy just saw him coming, like really stealthily towards me. And then this guy shouted to me, the owner of the home. And I ran, and he let the rung fly, hit the wall, and formed a hole.
That would have been your head.
Yeah. So that was my father's father.
Yeah.
So growing up in that kind of violence, you see, my father did not sit down and said, do I want to be like my father? He missed that opportunity.
Yes. He never got that awareness.
You see?
And I like the way you're speaking because, and this is a trait of highly intelligent people, they sit and introspect and they ask, how can I do better?
Yeah.
How can I know more? How can I be a different person?
And even like, and that's what bothers me a lot about our politics today. Like, Wasei are just seeing how badly it is and getting excited about Ruto giving the Luo community a vice presidency. Like Bobbie becoming the central bank, whatever. Like
absurd.
Raila and picking these friends of his that are more than 70 years old and coming to the government, and people saying that it's time to fuck up the Kikuyus or it's time to fuck up the Kalenjins. While, kwa ground, the way you always say...
Sisi wote tuko njaa. Hata haijalishi. Wakale wajaka. Sisi wote tuko njaa.
There is a time in 2013, and I will never forget, my friend called Njuguna. I think there was a very big delay with the announcement of the 2013 presidential election.
Yeah, I remember there was a kerfuffle.
There was a delay.
Yeah,
and at All Saints Cathedral there is a place where people sit called the Wall of Jericho. And I was seated there, and then Njuguna comes, and Njuguna is all over the place, so happy. And then, for me, those days I used to love Raila a lot. I'm like, this guy, if he becomes president, all our problems are solved. All our problems, we take them to Raila. You know, the
Before
way
we knew the truth.
yeah,
Yeah.
that is a con man, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
I mean, I take that flag any day. I'll take that flag any day.
Yeah.
So I'm seated on the wall of Jericho, and this guy in Njuguna comes, and he's so happy, and I'm asking, why he's so happy? You know, you've not had the election. We have won.
Mtu wetu.
Yes. So Uhuru won in 2013, whether he won by credibly or not, but he had been announced.
Yeah.
And I was so crushed. I was
Broken.
so crushed. Because you know this guy Raila is always winning until he loses.
Yeah. It's always him.
Yes. And then it just all comes crashing down.
Yeah. And the Luos are actually really emotionally bound to him, like very attached.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's very problematic, and it becomes worse and worse and worse every day.
Yeah.
But I also think that when you are in such a very bad place economically, especially in Luoland, there is a lot of hunger and starvation, and you look up to somebody who has been telling you that if he becomes president, our problems are over.
Yeah.
And that's how it has been since his father left,
Yeah.
Kenyatta.
You feel like he's selling you hope, like if he's chosen, things
Yeah.
will change.
Yeah.
Then in the long run, we've realized these guys are all buddies.
Yeah.
They're all friends. It means nothing.
You know, something that Gachagua said that really caught me whoosh, that's some crazy statement.
What did he say?
In one of his interviews with Sam Gituku, I think, of Citizen, he said that one of the guys in Ruto's camp abused him at the airport and called him stupid 5 times. And he said that he drove home and thought about it and accepted that I have really been stupid. And he tracked back a little bit.
Akafanya introspection.
Yeah, and he tracked back when Uhuru went to the mountain and told the people of Mount Kenya that huyu mzee is the guy.
Referring to
yes,
Ruto.
to Raila.
To Raila.
That huyu mzee is the guy that has your future. And everybody in Mount Kenya was like, no, you're lying to us.
Yeah.
We have this guy, this nice Nilot, who has come here and is promising us good things. You and your Raila guy, fuck off.
Yeah.
You see? And in Gachagua's words, he said that he kept hammering Raila and saying, and his boss calling him Ujama wa vitendawili. You remember?
Yes.
Very clearly.
Yes.
Ujama. In fact, Ruto never called Raila
Says
by
his
name.
name. He never does it.
He just used to say Ujama wa vitendawili. And we went and agreed that this is the man for the job. So I as Gachagua saying that this is a bad man,
Yes.
and Uhuru saying this is a good man, then we get to form this government.
Yes.
And then this guy comes back and tells me that this guy that we have been saying together is a bad man is actually a good man.
Now a good man. Unaona venye tunachezwa
Yeah.
kama matako
So
zao.
he's saying that that's when I called Uhuru Kenyatta and apologized.
Yeah.
Because Uhuru Kenyatta was my confidant, was my friend for a long time. We worked with him. And then I turned wild against him in a very bad fashion. You see, and that really caught me, and Gachagua was saying that he has been stupid. And if he has been stupid, how about the Mount Kenya people that have been sold the fact that Raila has been bad for
They're
years?
just being pawned like this.
You know?
Nobody wants to be independent in their thoughts. You can't think beyond
Yeah.
mtu wetu. Like what is good for you minus this mtu wenu.
So when Ruto gives vice presidency to a single Luo man who is gonna be one of Raila's friends anyways, and you claim that it is your time to eat, what are you eating? Raila has been a prime minister how many times? Do you remember the cartoon? Do you remember?
Watu wamekuwa gava over 50 years, 40
There is a
years.
cartoon that Gado drew some 10 or I think 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And that cartoon still rings true. When Moi and Raila formed a pact, I think it was Ford or something, I don't remember. He has been having so many vehicles.
So many.
You know? And then wakakosana. And then his nini was a tinga-tinga. His cult symbol was a tinga-tinga, and okay, obviously Kanu has been that cockerel.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he drew the cockerel inside the tinga-tinga inside the cockerel. And it was really towering motion. And if you look at that thing, it was like a long time ago.
Yeah. And we're still talking about the same things right now.
Yes, and still talking about the same enigma. I mean,
hawa tu tucheza sana na wana cause unaona hiyo hunger that you've been talking about, like people are struggling to meet basic needs. That is also plunging us into consistent grief. You don't know what will happen tomorrow. You don't know if you'll eat tomorrow. You don't know if you'll be called to cancel work. I've been talking to so many people who've been telling me they've been let off work within the last year. And it's now an actual issue. Like there's so many, I have cousins who are actual doctors. They've gone to school all those years. Hakuna job. The whole environment is very hostile. Everyone is scared. Business owners, people are struggling. People are so scared. And it keeps us stuck because when you're being traumatized, you're consistently in a state of your nervous system is being worn out. You're consistently in fight or flight or freeze. You can't even think. You can't have bigger ideas. You don't have food. How are you going to think of what to do next? And this is across board. Everyone is feeling the pinch. So you're consistently scared. Our parents don't have jobs. Wanazeeka. Ndio hiyo tunawaona wanazeeka, tunaanza kuogopa. Sisi kama wazazi wetu wanazeeka inamaanisha pia si tunazeeka. Time inasonga.
The other day I was with a cousin of mine.
Yeah.
And he told me I'm 50.
Ukashtuka.
Hey! My God, those used to be our fathers.
And if he's your
cousin, I looked at his head and it was grey. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I realized that my father died at 58.
And that's not old. That's not really old. But time is moving like that. So it's crazy. You're not just feeling the grief in the economy. It's also in our social lives. We're starting to see it's not affecting only our older parents.
Well, I saw you are one of the very bad things that you wrote about men.
Bad?
Hey,
bad things?
I'm just like,
I wrote something bad about men.
Yeah, in one of your podcasts.
Podcast or blog?
On the blog, you wrote about if your broke men don't deserve no pussy.
You need to read the article.
I will.
Don't judge me from the headline. You need to read the article.
I'm gonna read it, but it just triggered me.
It did its job. Because the titles are very intentional like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you see, but anyway, what I wanted to say, Akwamba, men are struggling to date.
Everyone. That's why I was going. It's affecting even the relationships. You're broke, you're worried about, and this grief is not just affecting like us because of our parents or what. Even our friends' parents are starting to die. Our friends are starting to die. Things are happening, like easy grief all over. So how can you be going through all these things and still thrive in a relationship? Even
fucking well, you can't.
Can't.
I told you I almost died.
At least you're getting sex, at least.
All right, people of the internet, thank you very much. I have written a new book called The Playbook. Roberta?
Yes.
I have done production for the last 20 years.
Yes.
And I see a lot of people getting into producing content in video and audio, and they're struggling.
Yeah.
I've written a book called The Playbook. I demystify the idea of creating content from audio to video to cameras you want to use to lighting. People say that my videos really look cool.
They do.
You know?
Na zinabamba sana.
Yeah.
Kuwatch inabamba sana.
So I've written a book called The Playbook where you can learn everything podcasting. I have dwelled so much on algorithm, the way internet works,
Yeah.
the way they recommend content. I've talked about thumbnailing, I've talked about titling, I've talked about description, I've talked about tags, I've talked about how do you come up with a topic to talk about.
That's something everyone needs to check out.
Yeah.
Because those are questions you ask yourself when you're beginning. And I think to have somewhere where it's all limewekwa pamoja, it's amazing.
Yeah. So please consider buying the book. I left the description on the everything about the book on the description. Please buy.
Please buy. So that Jagero can pay me and buy for me things.
Yeah. How do you like the bread?
I always love it.
Yeah?
With my lover, Abedi.
Abedi, yeah. Until another episode, bye for now.